Hello everybody, my name is Yijun Wang, and today I would like to share with you about my research on Bayesian Networks review the interplay between liver quantitative MRI metrics. So this is my disclosure. Understanding the interplay between liver quantitative MRI metrics is very important for a reliable clinical assessment for liver health. This is because we want to avoid the situation of underestimate or overestimate of these quantified value that's associated with the biological information. But the problem is we're often uncertain about the strength and the direction relationships between these quantitative MRI metrics. So Bayesian Network is a probability reasoning tool that can explore the relationships between parameters and visualize such information in a way with nodes and arcs. So we hypothesize that Bayesian Network can provide information about the relationships between liver quantitative MRI metrics, and we aim to discover the relative strength and the directional relationships between liver quantitative MRI metrics, and we assess the utility of automated structural learning algorithms. So we curated datasets from a Hepatica clinical trial where 152 surgical candidates who had colorectal cancer liver metastases, and they have information regarding iron-corrected T1, prone density fat fraction, liver T2 star, liver volume, and future liver remnant curated. We then prepared a dataset and separated them out based on time points, gender, and whether or not these datasets has future liver remnant in them. We then initialized Bayesian Network from the RBNLearn package with the structured learning algorithms. There are 60 different types of structured learning algorithms can be provided with Bayesian Networks. We then extract out the directed arcs and discuss the following questions. Does the existence and absence of a node affect the performance of the algorithms? Does separating sex affect the performance of the structured learning algorithms? What type of relationships can Bayesian Networks provide about liver quantitative MRI metrics? And then collectively, which algorithm suits better for the purpose of this work, specifically looking at the strength and the directions between the quantitative MRI metrics. So we've seen that the key difference between the addition and the absence of future liver remnant node is that there's additional information between the T2 star and future liver remnant. However, the majority of the network structure are the same between the network that's generated by the datasets with future liver remnant and that one that's generated by the dataset without future liver remnant. We then see that separating the sex actually does affect the generation of arcs and is seen in both the preoperative dataset and the postoperative dataset. Specifically, this difference is in between the relationships between T2 star and liver volume. We then look at the combined network. Here in the combined network, we combined datasets that differed in time point and sex. And the thickness and the color density of the network actually represents the frequency of the arc that's generated from the 60 different structured learning algorithms. So we've seen that there's a strong relationship between CT1 and PDFF and liver volume, and they are generated in 6 different datasets and in 5 different datasets respectively. In the information between a relationship between T2 star and PDFF was generated from 4 different datasets, and a relationship between CT1 and liver volume generated from 2 different datasets, but with a lot of learning algorithms. And lastly, we found relatively less information between the relationships between CT1 and T2 star, and also T2 star and liver volume. We then look at the same combined Bayesian network, but labeled with the automated structured learning algorithms that's contributed towards that specific arc. And we found that there are 11 types of structured learning algorithms have very similar performance because they can pick up both the very strong relationship between CT1 PDFF and PDFF and liver volume, for example. They're also able to pick up the mid-level range relationships. We'll then look at the relationship between T2 star and CT1, and specifically these weak level of relationship was picked up by the Arachne and child loop algorithm. And similarly, the hill climbing and taboo search algorithms also pick up this weak relationship between T2 star and volume. And specifically, we look at the middle range information, the strength, the arc specifically between T2 star and PDFF. We found that it was the stable version of the parent-children algorithm was able to distinguish the directional difference between T2 star to PDFF instead of PDFF to T2 star. So in conclusion, Bayesian network can provide information about relationships between liver quantitative MRM metrics, and all of the 16 structured learning algorithms provide clear relationships between PDFF to CT1 and CT1 to PDFF, and the relationship between PDFF and liver volume. Specifically, we found that the stable version of the parent-children algorithms is able to distinguish the directional relationships between PDFF and T2 star among the Bayesian network algorithms explored. Thank you very much.